What's up, boys and girls? Today we're gonna make a review of the Apple TV 4K. Hope you enjoy. What's up, boys and girls? My name is Van Gemfield. Hope you're having a smashing day. If this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. But for the rest of you, thank you for joining me once again. This bump. No? Okay, never mind. Okay, so this is the Apple TV 4K. No, that's a lie. This is actually the the Apple TV 4, but I do actually have Apple TV 4K. I'm just too lazy to go downstairs and pick up. Yeah, I actually have two Apple TVs. This Apple TV is in my studio, and then I have the Apple TV 4K. But I can actually prove that I own two Apple TVs. This is the original remote control, and this is for Apple TV 4K. If you can notice here, there is like a white circle and there's none on the old one. So just to, like, I know there are a lot of people who are going to be like, how can you review a unit if you're not showing it on the image? I promise you, I have Apple TV 4K, okay? I got the 32 gig version, and the old one, the Apple TV 4, is actually 64. I'm using this for about a year, and I noticed that you don't actually need 64, so that's a little helpful tip. Okay, so Apple TV 4K. So I'm in a pretty unique situation where I can actually compare both. I have both devices, and the upgrade, like, to be honest, is it a huge bump upgrade? Like, do you notice a lot of difference? Well, the simple answer is no, you don't really. Like, I have a 4K TV downstairs, and there isn't too, how should I put this? I've tested to watch a few YouTube videos, and what happens is I can't actually turn off 4K on my Apple TV. I don't know how to do it. Like, when I go into YouTube, everything that I watch is in 1080p. Trust me, I've looked at videos that I know are 4K. It just does not work. Netflix, I'm not paying premium there because I just think that there are so little 4K titles. But I did actually manage to rent videos on Apple Store, or is it Apple App TV Store? Anyway, I rented a few 4K HDR videos, and yes, 4K HDR definitely works on Apple TV 4K. And I'm gonna be honest, like, I think it's interesting. They should have called it Apple TV 5, but because it is a big bump, you know, from 4 to 4K. Like, performance-wise, the new Apple TV is basically the equivalent of iPhone 7, which I think is pretty impressive. And do you need all that power of that processor? Probably not. But to be completely honest, I think unless you are really into 4K HDR, I just don't see if you really need this one. I didn't notice much of a difference, you know, starting apps between this one and the old one. I did, however, notice that the image looked a bit crispier. I can't really explain it. It could be like a placebo effect, but in my mind, I sort of felt it looked a little better color, something. I know they did something. I think they did something anyway. But I don't think that the difference is that huge, that you absolutely need to get the Apple TV 4K. So if you have a good deal on Apple TV, go for that. Seriously, like, if I could save like $30 today, just going back in time buying a new Apple TV, I would just get the regular 4. I really would. So that's the comparison part of this review. Now I want to talk about Apple TV in general, my review of it. So it works great. It's just that if you have a TV that supports 4K and HDR, chances are like 99% that it is a smart TV already, and which means you can actually watch YouTube and Netflix on it. Okay? The only reason I wanted, this is going to sound ridiculous, but the only reason why I got the Apple TV 4K, another Apple TV for my smart TV, which already has Netflix and YouTube, and by the way, YouTube on my LG TV, it actually has 4K support. Just saying, Apple. I mean, you could have just fixed it somehow. Maybe it's going to come in a future update or something. What was I saying? Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So the only thing that I noticed though is that these remotes still suck. Like 60% of the time, it should be 50 statistically speaking, but somehow it's like 60 or 70% of the time I hold it upside down and I don't know why. And like, okay, you know, this one, it's got a different surface than it has here, but the colors are the same. And especially in the evening when you're just reaching for your remote, you just, I do like that they've not only put the white circle here, but they actually make it stand out a little bit. So you kind of get a little bit of a muscle memory. But since you always start by clicking here, usually, at least that's what I do, you never really reach this area until it's too late. So this is usually how I'm going about my Apple TV. Look, I even had to check if I was actually having it upside down or not. It's just not, it's not a very visually practical remote. Otherwise, it's a really cool remote. I really like it. Works almost flawlessly. Sometimes it loses connection. I have to reboot my Apple TV. I had the same issues with my regular Apple TV. So I don't know why that is, but it is an issue, definitely. Again, just to be completely honest, if it's all you want to do is watch all you want to do is watch YouTube in 4K, Netflix in 4K, all you really need to do is just have a regular smart TV that usually has 4K support and it has a Netflix app. The reason, and this is the train of thought that I lost earlier, the reason I got the Apple TV 4K for my smart TV downstairs is because for the life of me, I don't know why, but there is no HBO app on my LG Smart TV. Can't download it. There is none. It has Spotify even, but it has no... It's just... I need to call LG after this video. So that was the only reason, just to be able to use HBO. Now, I think that there is tremendous power in these Apple TVs, but some things that I wish it had is like Spotify support. Like it has technically, you can AirPlay stuff, but it's not the same as having a Spotify app. You know, it's just not the same thing. People say, oh, but you have Spotify on Apple TV. No, you don't. You really don't. So that's one thing. And also I'm thinking with all the power, even with the Apple TV4, not the 4K, but the regular Apple TV4, there is so much power here. And I just can't help but wondering, can't Apple start competing with, with the Switch, with PlayStation by actually putting better games into it, starting to cooperate with, I don't know, the Call of Duty series or something. There's a lot of power in this thing. Like maybe you can't play, the latest games, but there's tremendous potential here. Like I would suggest, cooperate with Nintendo, but I'm going to guess that Nintendo is not interested in making a deal with Apple because they would be actually competing against their own machine. So, that was pretty much it. Like, it's a cool device, pricey, perhaps a bit. I know that a lot of people who use these things a lot more than I do. And I think that if you're the right person who just really wants to have a good device, where you have all sorts of options, like there are pretty cool apps. The App Store is pretty cool. You can start like Calm, get into like meditative states, and there are cool solutions, and I love the idea of this thing. I'm happy that Apple has this product. I really am. Like it's better than ever. I'm not complaining. I'm just speaking realistically that if your TV has 4K and HDR support, chances are it already has an app for YouTube and Netflix. So just saying. But I know that a lot of people are huge fans of, like iTunes and iTunes movies, and they want to have that access on this thing. I think that pretty much covers what I had to say about this little device. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section below. Have a nice day.
Okay, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, see that like button, smash it. And I got some freakishly awesome videos coming up. Better subscribe so you don't miss a beat. I'll see you later. Peace.